version from Pete Singer. My life flows on in endless calm, a barbarous lamentation. I hear the real though far off hymn, which hails a new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing, the sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? Though the tempest loudly roars, the truth is live. Though the darkness over me closes, songs in the night. No storm may shake my inmost mountains. I'm singing, since love's the Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? Time's tempo sit with me, share the death knell's ringing. Friends rejoice for far and near. How can I keep from singing? No storm may shake my inmost heart. To that rock I'm clinging, since love's the Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
So good to have Matt and Steve and Chuck with us, isn't it?
Amen.
Welcome everyone to our fellowship service this afternoon. I think it feels like it just gets a little bit gloomier every Sunday. I guess it's the sun going down. But pretty soon it'll start going the other direction again, so good. I would like to invite you to stand and we'll sing together our opening song, Prayer of the Child of Love, right on the front of your songbook.
Father, Mother, God, your kingdom come, your holy will be wholly done. Spirit, source of love, you flow through me, your loving child, eternally. Every day, in every way, amen. Every day, I will pray again. Father, Mother, God, your kingdom come, your holy will be wholly done. Spirit, source of love, you flow through me, your loving child, eternally. Everywhere, let love be there. Amen. Everywhere, this my prayer again. Father, Mother, God, your kingdom come, your holy will be wholly done. Spirit, source of love, you flow through me, your loving child, eternally.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes And just begin to relax, drop your shoulders. Let's take 2 deep breaths with an audible ah on the out breath. Breathing in. And breathing in. As we take these moments to center ourselves and ground ourselves in calm and peace. And bring our whole selves into this moment right now. I also invite you to drop your mind down into your heart center, and focus your attention on the heart center. And here we can feel the wholeheartedness, our oneness with divine love. Here we can feel that we live, move, and have our being in pure love. In truth, we experience this love, this eternal goodness, to the degree that we open to receive it and accept it. We dial our frequency to the full and highest experience of kindness, compassion, gratitude, light and laughter. And we can begin to feel our heart smile. To unconditional love. And we open to the flow of the Spirit through us into this world, into full worldly expression. Willingly and enthusiastically, we show up to demonstrate love in an ever expanded and uplifted way, and to see ourselves and each other at one with all that is. And together we say, and so it is. The Matt Light began.
I'm real glad to be here to see you all and to hear him play. Also to play some of these tunes, specifically this one. I can not show it myself. Steve Earle's a very subtle, clever songwriter. And in this tune, he starts with a story that's old and brings it, sort of zooms it in the last stanza into something that's very current, very much in our lives. It's called Nothing But a Child. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, wise men saw a sign that set out across the land. Songs of praise to sing, they traveled day and night, precious gifts to bring, guided by the light. across the mountains far. And when it came to rest, they scarce believed their eyes. They'd come so many miles, miracle they prized was nothing but a child. Nothing but a child could wash those tears away. Guide a weary world into the light of day. Nothing but a child could help erase those miles. So once again we all can be children for a while. Now all around the world, in every little town, every day is heard a precious little sound. And every mother kind, every father proud, looks down and on to find another chance allowed. Nothing but a child chase away those miles. Guide a weary world to the light of day. Nothing but a child could help erase those miles. Once again we all can be children for a while. So once again we all can be children for a while.
A reminder that in your packet is a comment card, and on that you can put your prayer requests. You can write some prayer requests and drop those in the basket as it comes around later. And we'll pray here today for those people, and also they will go on our prayer team list each week. We're going to sing another song together. This one is Love Surrounds Me, and it should be right inside your front cover. Another Corey song. So please stand, and then afterwards we'll take some time to greet each other.
Love above me, love below me, love beside me on my way, love before me, love behind me, all around me, every day. Love to guide me, love to hold me, love to keep me in its care. Love within me and everybody. Love surrounds me everywhere. Love above me. Love above me, love below me, love beside me on my way, love before me, love behind me, all around me, every day. Love to guide me, love to hold me, love to keep me in its care. Love within me and everybody. Love surrounds me everywhere. Love to guide me. Love to guide me. Love to hold me. Love to keep me in its care. Love within me and everybody. Love surrounds me everywhere. Love surrounds me everywhere. Okay.
I'm very happy to introduce our speaker this afternoon. Let's give Reverend John Taylor a nice warm welcome.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here again, twice in 2 weeks. How lucky am I? Seriously, it is awesome to see everyone again. And I was thinking about this last week. Oh, I must put that guy there. I was thinking about this last week, and I wanted to talk about something that I felt like, because we're coming into the end of the year here, and, you know, Christmas is traditionally a time of giving gifts and all that good stuff. But I wanted to think about what would be a gift that everyone could forgive, or what would be a gift that everyone could give themselves and give to other people. And it's like one of these things that when you give it, it gets stronger and better, and it echoes out into the world. And meditated on it a bit, and I just thought forgiveness was a great thing to talk about, because we all need it, we all want it. We all have this common experience of either blowing it or we've been around someone that's blown it, and it hurts. It doesn't feel ultra amazing when we need forgiveness or need to make an amends or go to someone cap in hand. It is not an amazing experience because it makes us vulnerable. And what it really does, at least for me anyway, is it's a mirror into how I'm not perfect yet. And probably never will be if we're all keeping score and tabs. So it's not exactly, I think, the forgiveness that's the hard part. It's the revisiting of painful stuff that like just goes hand in hand with it. You know, that's, if you think about it, the forgiveness is the part we're all shooting for, but the obstacle course to get there is you have to sort of trudge through the mud of why this is necessary in the first place. And, you know, I think one of the things is there's a few reasons why forgiveness has been important in my life, and everyone's going to have their own reasons, but I'm just going to do a few generic ones. The Aramaic word forgive means to unbind. It means to unbind the heart. And I really thought that was pretty poetic because I thought of like a heart that I recently watched A Christmas Carol, and there's a remake on it, and Jacob Marley, the guy, his business partner, when he comes to visit him, he's got all these big, heavy chains on him. And he's like, well, what's the story with the chains, Jacob? And he's like, well, I forged these in life by valuing the wrong things and keeping grudges and all this other stuff. And I don't know why I just thought of that. I just thought of carrying like these big naval like chains that they use to tie up boats and stuff. Like, and having that wrapped around you like a bathrobe is no fun. When you set those chains down, when you open your hands, when you forgive and allow people to be forgiven and allow people to make amends to you, it opens up your hands. You've got open hands, open heart to receive new stuff. And 'tis the season to be receiving, I guess, and giving, you know, back. They're really one and the same as we talk about here. You know, to receive something new, you got to give away something old. And I think carrying around grudges are like running a marathon in really tight shoes. You can get to the end, but boy, oh boy, will you be hurting when you get to the end. So one of my favorite kind of scholars and teachers is this guy named Alan Watts. Maybe someone knows about him, but there's a great quote he has, and I came across it while I was getting ready for this. To understand everything is to be able to forgive everything. And I think what that means is we are all the hero, we are all the villain, and everything in between at certain points in our life. Like no one showed up here today on a white stallion, or a black stallion for that matter. I mean, we're all just doing the best we can, and sometimes we fall short of who we want to be. That's just part of doing this human experience here. And, you know, a big step I think that forgiveness helps us do is we relate rather than compare. Comparison is a game that everybody loses. You know, at the end of it, when the dogs of judgment are done biting me directly in the ass, they go after you. If I'm judging someone else, at some point I'll get tired of that, and then and so it's a losing game. It's like pouring water into a bucket with a hole at the bottom. You're never going to be able to really get anywhere, you know? And when you're able to kind of compare yourself, even or relate to people, even people that have wronged you, and when you're able to look at yourself and look at things that you've done that you fell short and be like, you know what? I was doing the best I could with the tools I had at that time. And, you know, I think, sorry about that, I think it's like we're all doing the best we can at all times, you know? And sometimes your best, you know, I'm going to talk about this, sometimes your best, we get reminded that we could be doing a little better in various ways. You know, I think our small self, our ego self, it likes to be safe. It likes to build walls very high, very thick, and everyone's at the battlements with boiling oil and crossbows and all that. And you stay right over there, and I'll stay right over here, and we'll all just have a holly jolly Christmas, you know? And that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not getting anyone anywhere. See, the reason forgiveness is a tough thing to do, and the reason why forgiveness isn't front page news is it's hard. And in case you were wondering, the reason it is hard is because you are risking when you do it. To go to someone and say, man, I was wrong. I blew it. And I will do what it takes to make this right, to square that debt. You're in unexplored territory. Someone could very easily be like, what you can do is leave and never come back. And that's, let's face it, that's not probably how any of us imagined it going. Or sometimes that conversation can happen with you, you know, in the quiet and privacy of your own heart. You know, you say, boy, I was doing the best I could, but I just blew it. And, you know, I mean, who's inside there sometimes? You know, how tough is the judge? Do we ever get let off the hook inside? You know, I mean, if we're all really being honest here, I think all of us are so much harder on ourselves than any outside force could ever be. I mean, that's just me talking. I don't see a lot of nodding heads, so, you know, I don't know. Either I'm in good company or bad company or somewhere in between, I don't know. So, right. You know, Mary said it, man. It's the work. It is the reason you are here. To understand you are pure positive energy, loving energy, having a human experience. That's what you're doing. You signed up for this many, many moons ago. And you are that energy. Be the love, right? And the only thing you got to do is remove the obstacles that get in the way of that. Has anyone ever seen someone snake a drain? Has anyone ever watched that process where there's like a hairball or something in a drain? They're like, oh no, man, nothing's going down. And then they come and they get the, and it goes in and out comes the hairball. And they're like, okay, it should be good. That's what this is about. It's about getting that gross hairball of energy out of your life. You're welcome to skip the internal visual. So, all right, where to start, right? That's enough reasons why we should do it. Let's get down to brass tacks. How to, which I think is just as important. Well, the first thing I would say is to ask, pray, talk about, journal, the willingness to be willing. We're not even talking about being willing at this point. We're just talking about the willingness to be willing, okay? It's kind of like the stretching before the race. You're not even out there running at this point. You know, even contemplating forgiveness for ourselves, for people that have harmed us, to go to someone in that humble manner and say, boy, I was wrong, that's a big ask. And it's scary. And now I'm in my 40s. What I have learned is it's scary at all ages. Yeah, it never actually gets easier. Much to my disappointment. So that energy, I like to call it the big thaw. We're going into a time of year where things are going to start freezing. Rivers, lakes, small bodies of water, even big bodies of water. And I think one of the things that the willingness to be willing does is it starts to break the ice around your heart and in your soul. Like it's like the springtime of the spirit. Like the heat comes in, the motion happens, the emotion happens, and that trauma, and by the way, I really read a good definition of what trauma is. It is when a pain or a hurt or something so terrible happens that it crashes through your boundaries with just reckless abandon, and it freezes a moment in time in your consciousness. It's like a camera shot of, oh man, there I am blowing it. Or there I am being a poor loser or saying something mean to my brother or my friend that I didn't really mean, or not taking responsibility for something that I should have owned up to. You know, it's so hurtful that it just freezes it in your brain. And we got to get some motion going around that. So, one sec, guys. I get thirsty up here when I get nervous. That's why I brought water. Thank you. Okay. So one of the things that we can start doing inside, this is all, by the way, first I'll give you inside stuff, then you can take your show on the road. These are things that I've done, by the way. This is road tested and John approved. Reframe the story. Reframing the story. What I mean by that is, let's just take an example. Let's say you have a jerk boss, and he really goes that extra step to kind of be just a huge, it's a spiritual setting. So let's just say he's a huge jerk, all right? And you can't make him happy. The criticism is all the time. And even when you leave, they're playing that part as the antagonist right up until the end. Everyone's had somebody like that, whether it was a wrestling coach or a dad or a mom or you name it. Somebody's had somebody in their life that they could never please. Well, what I would tell you is when you're reframing a story, you're telling it differently to yourself. So if in that example of a bad boss, you gained from that you didn't want to work for someone else anymore. You wanted to start your own business or be an entrepreneur or go out and strike out on your own because anything was better than this. Sometimes it's a blessing. Sometimes painful stuff comes wrapped, or sometimes great stuff comes wrapped in pain wrapping paper. I suck at wrapping presents. They're awful. Our tree looks great. We got presents underneath it, and everyone can tell the presents that I wrapped. And I was just thinking about that. These are the pain wrapping papers, because I suck. That was probably not supposed to be included. Anyway, but there's a silver lining in the long run. I heard a great quote. I don't know who said it, Wikipedia, Google it. The arc of the universe is long and tends to bend towards righteousness. But the problem is we got to bend it. It doesn't naturally bend that way. You have to direct the river towards that. And this is kind of the deal. If you look for the silver lining, even in terrible situations, even in situations that are a total wash, you'll find it. Looking for the good in everyone is an act of heroism. When you let go of the story, when you let go of a story where you were powerless and victimized and afraid, you're at liberty to tell yourself a new and better story about how you might not have had the right tools, how you would do differently, how you are doing differently, how you've reinvented yourself. All of those are open possibilities. If you stay stuck in the past, that's where you'll be. But if you chart a new course, a braver course, you can do that. And you can do that with friends, family. Get people involved. Loving friends, coaches, or as one person said, powerful allies will come into your path to help you on your spiritual journey. And I'm in a room full of them. You got to look fearlessly, though. You have to, once again, get vulnerable and get real. And maybe sometimes going to family is not an amazing idea with that, Ram Dass talks a lot about giving up your anger. I really like that. He says, don't come up. He's one level above even me. He's like, look, don't revisit it. Don't come up with a story about why it was justified. Just give it up. Let it go. Let it be like a puddle that evaporates. It was there, now it's gone. Meditating on giving up your anger, making a conscious choice to leave it behind you is an action. It does take time. It takes patience. It takes re-engaging with that process. And you'll get better the more you do it. So give that a shot if that resonates. Deconstructing a story of anger happens brick by brick. Deconstructing a story of victimhood happens. It's a battle of inches, folks. I wish I could get up here and give you sage words and say, and if you follow this, it'll be real easy. It won't. It won't. But the payoffs, the bennies at the end, the benefits, huge, huge. They have been for me. I've been in a recovery program for 15 years. Part of that is making amends to people. It was one of the most freeing and liberating experiences of my life. It still is today. Today I'm very careful not to offend people or be a bad guy, because mostly I don't want to have to repeat that process. That's probably the most honest thing I'm going to say here tonight, in case anyone was wondering. Yeah, but like I said, a lot of forgiveness happens in the privacy of your own heart. It's not a public affair. You'll never make the 6 o'clock news. No one will ever say maybe someone will say thank you. Maybe you'll have a conversation with yourself and say thank you. And that might just have to be it. We talked about talking to people. We talked about journaling. We talked about taking care of yourself and getting ready for this process. There's a few do's and don'ts that I've found in making an apology. First of all, journal. Write down what you want the outcome to be. If you could have it your way, what would it look like? The next one is practice. Practice with a friend. Do some role playing. Get it real. Take it from in here to here to here. You know what I mean? Get real with it. Do not ambush anybody with an apology. Okay? I leaned in because that meant it was important. We're getting ready to be around family members. And if there's old wounds there, for the love of crumb cake, do not just run up and be like, hey, you remember when I was a huge jerk? You know, make a time in a neutral space and place. Let everyone know what you're planning to do. I'm going there because I'm going to ask for your forgiveness. Or I want to talk about a time when you hurt my feelings. And I think we should talk about how that affected me. You're not asking anything from the other person. I want to really dial into that. You're not walking up to someone and say, and now it's your turn to forgive me. You are going there simply to clean your side of the street. Or as a sponsor of mine said, if this is 90% their fault and 10% your fault, we're going to focus 100% on your 10%. I thought it was profound. Yeah, it resonated with me. You want to clear this with your trusted friend, your team of spiritual people beforehand, but be ready to make an amends. If you owe money, if there's something you can physically do in the now to make things in the past better, then, do it. Do it. It might really sting. You might not want to. In fact, I can guarantee you won't. But if you travel that road, at the end of it, a new horizon awaits. And that's the truth. And this is an important one. If you're having a sit-down conversation with someone, or you're going to someone to talk about what you did wrong, and you're out there saying, I'm willing to make an amends for that, before you get into action or agree to anything, make sure you run their requests by those same trusted friends before you do anything. Get an outside perspective. Because if someone tells you, I want you to go to heaven real soon, don't do that. You gotta see if it's fair, spiritually sound, and in the best interest of everyone, and proportional to what actually happened. And I'm not telling anyone to go into a situation that's toxic. Please don't misunderstand. I don't want anyone going up to someone who isn't ready to give or receive amends and lay it all on the line. I don't want to inspire anyone to get hurt. I'm just saying that there comes a time when you got to kind of let bygones be bygones. And I'm trusting the wisdom of everyone. And I'm assuming an intelligent audience. You just know. You know when it's time. You know when you carried the backpack full of chains for too long. All right. If you're out there and you're making an amends, this is what I tell people when I work with them. Go all the way. Run the ball into the end zone. If you're going to get real and get honest, don't stop at like 90% there with your amends. Really drive it all the way in. While the wound is open, clean it out. Because it's going to be twice as hard to go back and do it later. And a big part of this is taking care of yourself. After you've made an amends, after you've received forgiveness, meditate on it, journal on it, go inside, think about maybe some work you could do around this. I've been lucky enough to receive a few amends in my life. I've been lucky enough to have a few heartfelt conversations with people where they asked me to forgive them. And the number one thing that I can tell you that I physically experienced in that moment was release. Like that deep, that just really comes from like the middle of your soul, for lack of a better description. And, if none of this works, if you can't quite seem to get there now, I'd like to go through a little meditation with everyone called cord cutting, which has been really, really helpful for me when you're dealing with a tough resentment or a tough thing that hurts and you just can't seem to even get the willingness to be willing. So I kind of want to lead people through that, if that's cool. So Corey, please. Let's all just get nice and cozy. That's the end of me pretending to be smart. And let's get nice and relaxed, please. And take a nice deep breath in. And maybe a nice deep breath out. Let's just do that a couple times, just to kind of settle into the safety and the sacredness of this space that we're creating by being here this afternoon. You are worthy of forgiveness. You are worthy of giving forgiveness. You are worthy of letting yourself off the hook. As someone who is on this path of being human with you and who loves you, I'm telling you, you are worth it. You are worth it. Asking for forgiveness, being forgiven can be scary. I get scared when I think about doing it. I've been scared doing it. You can feel fear and do it anyway. I trust you. And if now that mountain just feels a little too steep, I'm going to do a little creative visualization with you that I hope will help. So as you're sitting in your chair, just kind of start to feel the own energy in your body. Maybe start to feel it in your feet, moving its way up into your legs, into your torso, your arms, these various parts of your body alive. You're a spirit having a human experience. And I want you to imagine someone in your life where there's been a falling out. Maybe some bad blood. Maybe you said something in anger you didn't really mean. An estranged relationship. Something on the books that just isn't quite finished the way you wanted it to be. We've all got one. And now I want you to think about an energetic thread running between you and that person or situation, or maybe if it's even a younger version of yourself. I want you to think of it almost being like a coil of rope that comes between you and that person. And I want you to see it. And if you're willing, I would like you to take your hand and put your hand on where you feel that unforgiven part of your spirit in your body. It might be in your heart, could be in your throat, could be you get a headache whenever you think about it. Wherever, whenever it is, just go with it if you feel like you're safe to do so. And I want you to just put your hand on that cord real easily, just taking a nice, gentle grasp of it, and I want you to just unplug it, but hold on to the cord, okay? You still got it in your hand. Think of it like a cord to like a toaster or something. Now here's the thing, that person, that situation, that earlier version of you, that needs some love and it needs some healing. So we got to plug it into something so it gets what it needs. So I want you to use the unlimited power of your consciousness. You are the entire universe having a human experience. I want you to take that and imagine what could be the most loving, peaceful, healing place for that energy. Just take a second or two thinking it out, feeling it out. And then I want you to very gently and easily take that cord and plug it into that outlet. And let it get the healing and the light and the love that it needs. And it's no longer connected to you. That person, that situation, it's getting the healing it needs. You can let go of that burden. You can open your hands to receive the greatest gift this Christmas. A new heart, a new perspective, a new way of being, some courage. Lord knows we all want it. And just take a minute to feel empowered by that. It's such a simple exercise, and it might seem a little small, but I'm telling you, my friends, if you just do it once a day for 7 days, you will feel something shift. And now, I'd like us to start coming back to the room. Very gently, maybe wiggle your fingers and toes, taking a nice deep breath. Just letting your body breathe it out. And thank you so much for letting me talk to everybody. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, John. This is the time in our service when we stop and really fill our hearts with gratitude. Gratitude for all of the blessings and gifts in our lives. And the fellowship is so grateful for all of your generous donations. As we know at the fellowship, giving and receiving are one in truth, as John said. And so it's in all of our best interest to give and open our hearts to receive as well. So John will come around with the basket, and you can put your donation and your card for prayers in there as well. And as he does that, Corey will lead us in our gratitude chant.
Grateful, I am grateful. 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 Grateful, I am grateful.
Before we say our blessing of the tithes and offerings, I would like to ask all of you to not just while we're here, but whenever you have an opportunity and you think about it between Sundays, envision the fellowship stable financially and thriving and flourishing into the future. Because all of us together, as we see that and feel that, we create that. So let's say our blessing. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. Thank you so, so much. And let's take another moment and go within. And know that we hold in our hearts so closely all those named in the basket today. All these beautiful beings. And in these moments together with our energies joined, we see them as whole and healthy, safe, with clarity, finding resolution where it's needed. We know that love find its way into their hearts as we extend it. And together we say, and so it is. We're going to sing one more song together. And would you please stand and turn to page 41. This is a favorite. This is my song. It's a wonderful time to sing, wonderful song to sing during the holidays.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and wide. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and vine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land
I got the lines from A Course in Miracles. So I know them anyway. I will not be afraid. Practice peace today. I will not be afraid. Practice peace today. All my fearful thoughts gently pass away. Yeah. This day I choose to spend in perfect peace. This day I choose to spend in perfect peace. Let every voice but God be still in me. Yeah. I can decide to change all what's ever been. Oh, I can decide to change all what's ever been. Creation's gentleness it's all I want to ever see. Yeah. I'll open my mind. There's nothing to fear. I'll open my mind. There's nothing to fear. I'll open up my heart. Only love is here. Yeah. I will not be afraid. Practice love today. So I will not be afraid. Practice love today. As my fearful thoughts gently pass away. Yeah. And my fearful thoughts gently pass away.
What a good service. Good message, Reverend John, and great music, Corey. And thank you so much, Matt, for being here, and Steve and Chuck. How much do we love the Matt Black Band? Thank you all for being here. Thank you, virtual watchers, as well. I know it's after 5, but I want to get in some announcements that are important for the rest of this month. This coming Saturday, Death Cafe is at 2 o'clock, and then we're going to have our Christmas party fundraiser dinner at 5 p.m. at the office. So please make plans to join us for that. It's always fun, and we're going to have a nice dinner, and Matt and Leroy are going to be coming and singing some songs for us, and we'll have a sing-along as always. So please join us. And the following Sunday is our Christmas Music Sunday service, which is also a nice one. We can sing carols together and enjoy some really good music. Christmas Eve is on Sunday this year. So the following Sunday is our Christmas Eve candlelight service at 4 p.m. here at the Red Cedar Friends. And the last Sunday of the month, December 31st, our famous fellowship potluck.
Hey, Mary.
Yes.
When is Burning Bull?
Burning Bull is the first Sunday in January.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's always a good one too. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. So let us join together in our peace circle and say our closing blessing. Thanks, everyone.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.